Thursdays we're live from Fashion Furniture, but of course, thanks to the Fashion Furniture folks for understanding, we're going to be over here covering Super Bowl 60. And a reminder, of course, for you folks out at Fashion Furniture, like we said, we usually are there on these Thursdays in terms of it. They're one of the many sponsors that, of course, are on our show here, getting us ready for Radio Row and all the great things as well. Just a reminder, of course, that you got the free deal. If you buy a Beauty Rest Black mattress at Fashion Furniture, you get an adjustable base for free. And just go stop by. Fashion Furniture, nothing like it in all of California. Of course, shout out to all of our other sponsors who have got us here. Chancey Gold Resort Casino, Horn Barbecue, FFB Bank, Fashion Furniture, like we said. Of course, Thies and Duker out there. Central Valley Sports as well. I hope I hit all the sponsors there in terms of it. And we appreciate you all. Helena Agri's the last one. There we go. Helena was the other one I remember looking for as well. So there we go. Helena, shout out to you. Of course, we're going to be doing a lot of big things with Helena next week at World Ag Expo. So we're real appreciative of their business, everybody's business here, for allowing us to be here at Radio Row in San Francisco. Thanks to Tony D for tossing it to us in the previous hour. Of course, we're live on the stream on the website, 1430ESPNFresno.com. You want to go to the ESPN Fresno app, listen to us there, and also, listen to the show on our YouTube page and the stream there as well. Of course, we're posting videos there all throughout the day. Joe's been hard at work getting those out, and I'm telling you, there's some real good conversations going right now with all the great people that have been here on Radio Row. We've got a great guest list ahead for us here on this Thursday, and let me just run through it real quick. Coming up in this hour, you're going to hear from Andrew Zimmern, who is, you may know him from the Food Network, Travel Channel, Bizarre Foods. He's going to be joined by Kyle Rudolph, tight end, longtime tight end. He's been in the NFL since 2011, so it's going to be good to be chatting with both of them about the Taste of the NFL event coming up on Saturday, and we'll be getting with that. Of course, we got Ryan Leaf coming in this hour as well, so we chat with him from the Believe Network. He's the Believe NFL analyst there as well. In hour number 2, Rick Neuheisel, new coach of the UFL Dallas Renegades, is going to be joining me. We had a great conversation earlier today, so you'll be hearing that interview at 4 in the 4 o'clock hour. ESPN personality Evan Cohen going to be on with me as well, and later in the show around the 5 o'clock in the 5 o'clock hour, Eric Armstead's going to be on with us. NFL Man of the Year winner last year. They're going to announce the NFL Man of the Year tonight at the NFL Honors, and also Q Myers. You know him. He's been in Fresno for a long time before now, covering the Raiders and their Raiders podcast. So Q Myers joining the show as well. That's going to be in the 3rd hour of our program, going all the way to 6 o'clock tonight and getting you set for the rest of the evening. A little reminder of the schedule, of course. Lakers-Sixers tonight. That's in L.A., and that's a 6:45 pregame, so we're taking you all the way up to Laker basketball tonight. So be sure to tune in there. And, of course, on Friday, we've got all our shows, another 3-hour show, FPU Baseball over on 790 as well. Saturday schedule looking like this. Central Valley Sports Report from First String Sports. Paul Metter's there as well. You got Laker basketball that evening. You got Duke in North Carolina. They ain't too bad, right? It's going to be 3:15 Laker basketball to follow after you there as well at 14:30. FPU basketball on 790. And then, of course, Super Bowl coverage is going to be at 9 a.m. on 14:30 with a 3:30 kickoff time right here from Santa Clara, San Francisco area. So looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. And we're getting rolling here. We're rolling along on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. Got a lot of things to talk about, of course. The NBA trade deadline happening. different conversations surrounding the game, of course. One of the big storylines I've been hearing here is whether it's not a big deal or it is a big deal, but apparently people are finding it a big deal. Tom Brady publicly saying he doesn't care who wins this game, which I think some Patriot fans are certainly taking to it with how he has approached this game. Even Patriot players have called him out in saying, "Hey, Tom, that's a no-no. You got to be rooting for your former teammate Mike Vrabel and hoping he wins." But Tom trying to be neutral, and I think he caused a little bit of a firestorm, a little backfire there in terms of that. So Tom Brady not backing the Patriots, not backing the Seahawks either. He just wants a good game. But I think him being neutral maybe caused it a little bit as far as that's concerned. So yeah, it's an interesting storyline for sure. The other news, we'll call this an injury report brought to you by Davison Van Wagenen, injury law firm in Fresno. Be sure to visit my friends there at Davison Van Wagenen. Eman Wari, the safety for the Seahawks, seemed to have rolled an ankle yesterday at practice, and that has been a cause of concern for Seattle. Mike McDonald saying that he has a low ankle sprain of some sort, but could be good to go for the game. What does that change in terms of the defense and what their Seahawks are going to be doing against the Patriots? It could determine a little bit of a different outcome for this football game that is going to be played on Sunday. But Nick Emanwari, who is a Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist tonight, they're going to announce the winners of that on the NFL Honors. Some interesting big news out of it today in terms of that. So we're going to be monitoring that situation as well. I did see they announced the Rookie of the Year, the NFL Rookie of the Year, which I guess is different than the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tyler Shough is recognized as the 2025 Pepsi Zero Sugar National Football League Rookie of the Year. It's been an interesting choice. I thought there could have been a different. There was a bunch of finalists. Jackson Dart was one. Travion Henderson, Ashton Jeanty, Tataroa McMillan, Carson Swetzinger, Tyler Shough. They went with Shough. Shough, really raising the bar in terms of the capabilities of what that Saints team was. So it's going to be interesting to see where that moves forward now for this New Orleans Saints team. So Tyler Shough is going to be fascinating to move forward here, and maybe the Saints have somebody in something. So it's going to be interesting. So some of the headlines here at the top of the show, that's for sure. We got a lot of guests that are going to be coming on the show, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we got our first guest of the day, Andrew Zimmern, Kyle Rudolph coming up next, talking about Taste of the NFL. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on 1430 ESPN. First guest of the day here on our program, Andy Zimmer and Kyle Rudolph, representing the Taste of the NFL event that's coming up on Saturday. Of course, hopefully Jen Hughes and Student Hunger as well. Guys, it's great to have you both on the show here, representing Central Valley. I did not plan this. I didn't know you guys were wearing the same color as I was, but look at us.
Yeah.
On the camera.
Yeah.
Well, we call each other every morning, and it's like, "What are you wearing?" But we didn't buzz you in.
No,
so
I just it was just a thought.
Feeling it. You're feeling it.
Rotation. This is what we're feeling. We're feeling the room. It's Niner vibe a little. I don't know what it is. It's good to have you both. And you're in the city. A big event coming up, of course. And, how are we doing? Gearing up for this Taste of the NFL event, of course. I know we had a right on yesterday. But fill us in a little bit more about what people can expect for this Saturday.
well, you get to meet legends like Kyle Rudolph.
You get to eat legends food like Chef Andrew. That's what's more important.
Food and football have been going together since the game first started. About 12 years ago, Super Bowl eclipsed Thanksgiving as the biggest food day in America in terms of number of people celebrating around food as well as dollars spent per person. I think it's really fitting, as extraordinary as that fact is, to then be doing an event whose beneficiary are kids in schools in NFL cities that don't have enough to eat, who are hungry. And it's just incredible work. We've been involved in this thing for a long time. We have big roots in the Twin Cities. When Kyle we used to be neighbors. Yeah, which is true. But the founder of Taste of the NFL is Wayne Kostrowski, and so we've been involved for a long time. He now has gifted Jen Youth, who is the beneficiary of this and now produces the event. And they've taken a great event and made it even greater. And it is the signature event of the weekend where we get to raise a lot of money to help end student hunger. And it's very pointed, it's very direct. The money goes to a great cause, and it's just worth working all year for. Kyle's on the board; he can talk more about it than me. I'm obsessed about the civic responsibility of ending hunger globally, and I just love being aligned with a partner like Jen Youth that actually makes a difference. Like I can see it; it's tangible. I can point to it.
Andrew pointed it to you. You work really closely with the organization. And what are the passion points to it? And what are the things you see in the impact each of these things?
Well, I thought Andrew said it perfectly. Like you can see the impact. You know, a lot of times organizations raise a ton of money and you don't really get to see the work. We see it across all 32 club markets, the schools, the programs. For me, one of the things that was enlightening to me, as a young player in the NFL, get involved with Taste the NFL, start to learn about food insecurity and the fact that there are kids in our country that aren't sure if they're going to have a meal outside of the one school meal they get at lunchtime. And how do we expect our kids to grow and nourish and develop their brains if they ultimately are trying to figure out where their next meal is coming from, or they go to school hungry? We all know how unhappy we are when we're hungry. That's why I love hanging out with Andrews. I'm always happy I get to eat his food. And it's just such a hard to fathom concept that here in the United States of America, 1 in 5 kids are food insecure. And it doesn't have to be that way. And Jen Youth, along with Taste the NFL, is doing a great job to combat that.
When Kyle said it doesn't have to be that way, I want to put a big orange magic marker circle around that. People think, we will always have hungry people in the world. And that may be so. However, America is the most developed culture and the richest nation in the history of planet Earth. And there's an actual price tag associated with, I belong to organizations that have done the math, on whose boards I sit. It's $18 billion a year. That's a rounding error in the $1.6 trillion federal budget. This is not red or blue. This is not left or right. We've been trying to solve this problem since after World War II, when our country became a leading nation in this world and started to enjoy success that no other nation has ever seen. So to squander that platform that we have as Americans to solve the hunger problem for kids in our country, to me, is a mandatory issue. It's not a question of should we do this. And what Kyle said, I should frame that and put it on the wall. It is achievable. It is doable. It is quantifiable. And we have tribalized compassion in America. And I think that's why we are not solving the hunger problem. In other words, okay, people in my neighborhood, in my area, in my bubble that I live in aren't hungry, so I don't have to deal with that issue, right? But the fact of the matter is that even a hungry child halfway around the world affects everyone. You know, we don't have time for me to get into it, but believe me, I've given that TED talk. You know, go to andrewzimmern.com and look at some of my philanthropic work. The talks are on there. We need, and it hits even closer to home here in America. Regardless of where you go, any child in America hungry is something that affects us all. And I just think it's now a genocidal issue by definition, because we have the solution. So it's why I love this work. And, you know, Kyle keeps talking about the food thing. It's weird being in the food business and being part of the problem and the solution, right? Yeah. Because I fetishize food for a living. So I'm one of those people for whom I have to be very careful about how I do that, because I don't want to talk too much out of both sides of my mouth, because I'm sitting there telling people, hey, come with me, let's go eat tacos in Mexico City. And I know in my head as I'm saying that 20% of the people watching may not know where they're having dinner, right? How insulting is it? We need to make it so that those people get well. It's it fuels me and keeps me going.
Well, especially with the venue that we're here, with California, such a rich agricultural center, food start, especially for our audience who work in Fresno, and that's where it all begins.
My friend, 3 months ago, California went from the 5th largest economy in the world to the 4th largest economy in the world. So for those of us who do work on a global scale, we're very aware of that. And I do most of my legislative work in California for that very reason, because with such a large economy, if we get a law fixing food for kids in California, I work with Nora Latore at Eat Real, and we just, thanks to Assemblyman Jesse Gabriel, the state of California just signed into law a new program banning ultra processed foods, from kids' meals. It's something that we worked on for years. So this is a very important state to be talking about this, because California can be a true leader in this mission. It's why we love being here in San Francisco, and then next year in Los Angeles, it's a double for us.
And so for, especially with the event tomorrow, of course, Saturday, excuse me, Taste of the NFL. This is an ability for people to go to benefit this initiative, right? And let's talk about the event itself, right? And what's going to be featured. I hear there's going to be a lot of different chefs featuring different kinds of cuisine that people can go and enjoy. And Kyle, you've been to San Francisco numerous times, right? You know, what kind of food are we anticipating at the event on Saturday?
What are you making, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm there to shake hands and eat food. So I will not be cooking anything. But you talk about I'll let Andrew get into the details of the food, because that's what he does for a living. But just think about like where we are in the U.S. and, right up the road, Napa Valley, unbelievable wine country, unbelievable food. I know they're bringing a bunch of that flavor down. So as someone that likes to eat, I like to drink almost equally as much. And there's no better place than San Francisco for that.
It is a magical place, and not only do we have 25, 30 of the best chefs from here who will be cooking their food from their restaurants. So, Mexican, Spanish, Moroccan, quote unquote, whatever Northern California cuisine is. And yes, Northern Californians, let's have that debate. You don't own Farm to Table. You made it famous, but you don't own it. You like the way I threw that out there in a Fresno station? I do too. But we also have so many many great chefs from out of state who have flown in to be a part of this. Carla Hall and Mark Hooker and Lashita Perry and a whole suite of really incredible chefs with national platforms who have come in to share food, as well as all of our great sponsors and their activations. And a lot of them are doing food booths. The spirits world, we have a lot of athletes who have gotten into the spirits world. So there are some athletes who own spirits companies that are double dipping and are going to be showing up there. I think it's a really great opportunity. Doug Flutie and the Flutie Brothers band is doing, I think, a full set of their classic rock and roll revival. And when Doug said to me early this morning when I was talking about it, he said, well, I kind of play the drums like I played football. And I said, how's that? And he said, well, just kind of wild and improvisational. And it really doesn't matter what happens as long as the pass is completed or we don't lose yardage. And I'm just like, well, that is a very interesting way to talk about the creative process. So people have that to look forward to. But something that Kyle said that I think is really important. He said earlier today, he says, I know what I'm supposed to do, which is eat a lot, have a good time, walk around and shake hands. For people who want to get up close and meet their heroes, the place to come is Taste the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, full stop. Legends, Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, retired players, active players. I mean, we have so much participation from the NFL community. And I think that's one of the other things that drives Gen Youth that is really special. When you have an entity like the NFL in support of what we're doing and making this an NFL approved charity, it allows us to have a lot more. That's how we get to be here talking to you. I guess you can get in here. These are your people, right? But for someone like me, I wouldn't be here on Radio Row, 28 years in a row, if it wasn't for the fact that this is an NFL approved charity. So it thanks to the NFL for giving us the platform to talk about this.
We're Fresno Station, so
Yep.
we have to ask a few questions
Yep.
in regards to Fresno.
Sure.
Fresno, we feel, claims the taco truck.
Yep.
And so, Kyle, have you ever experienced a late night stop at a taco truck in your life?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm never going to pass a late night taco truck.
Okay, so what's the go-to order for our guest here, Andrew Kyle, for a go-to taco truck order if you're considering?
These are my favorite questions in the world because we're friends in real life.
Yeah.
So I just love it when I get to look at him. It's like him asking me to draw up the X's and O's on a play. I'm just gonna look at him like, what is your favorite taco, Kyle?
I'm like a shredded chicken taco, hard shell, all the fixins.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
The shredded, like a unbelievably marinated.
Yeah, so like tacos guisado,
yeah.
but with chicken, something braised and
Yes.
saucy and spicy and yummy.
Yeah. What about for you?
That's a good call. I'm a tacos de cabeza guy. I like to go to places in Mexico City or in rural Mexico where they're raising cattle and there's a pot with 8 or 9 steer heads floating in it. And when the cheeks are the right texture, when they've cooked through, it gets pulled and seared on a plancha, and the meat gets pulled, and a little meat from the cheek, a little meat from the eye, a little something from the ear, a little something from the neck, and you get them in all the different tacos guisado, nice and wet and saucy. And again, I'm more of a purist. Just give me a little minced onion and cilantro, a lime, and some hot sauce that the taquero's grandmother made. Not the taquero, not the taquero. His grandmother made. And if you can check all those boxes, touchdown. In Mexico City, I'm more of a tacos al pastor guy late at night because you get the sweet and sour with the pineapple. But I've actually had tacos at taco trucks in Fresno. And as biased as you are, rooting for the hometown, Fresno has unbeatable taco trucks. I mean, without a doubt.
That's why the minor league team is taco trucks. That's what they got the name for. But I know we're out of time. I appreciate you both stopping by and Taste of the NFL Saturday. You're going to be there. I appreciate you both joining us here at ESPN Fresno.
I need to stop by a taco truck after this. I'm starving.
Don't you feel like it? I feel like it.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Good job, guys. Thank you. I love you guys all.
Believe Network NFL analyst, of course, working with a lot of different folks around here. And Ryan, it's good to have you on this Thursday. How are we doing?
You too. This is back in the valley, right? In Fresno
Central Valley, yeah, California, huh? It's a great place to live, great place to.
Well, I'm going to be visiting a lot. I'm going to call the Pac-12 games next year. So Fresno State, part of the new Pac-12.
We got a good team.
Yeah, got a great coach.
Great coach, Coach Entz. First year, great impressions from that. Yeah, it's been a fun season.
I called the Oregon State Fresno State game earlier this year.
Oregon State only had a snapper, right?
Yeah. I mean, they tried every which way to lose that game, and they accomplished it. That's for sure.
That's what we learned. Long snappers are important. But Ryan, it's good to have you here.
You too.
Super Bowl week here at Radio Row, and of course you're here with Believe, but you're also here as well on behalf of. Remind me again.
The Menninger Clinic. Yeah, it's a psychiatric substance abuse center based in Houston.
Yeah.
A nationwide facility that I started working with about 4 years ago, and it's really allowed for an asset at the end of the work I do when people reach out and need help and know the things that I went through and overcame, and now I have something at the end of that. When someone is reaching out for help, I say I have a place for you where you can go feel safe, where you can go feel seen and heard, and get the help that you need. So it's been a real important piece of my life for sure.
Well, I want to just say it's touched my life too. I have people in my life that have dealt with especially with alcohol and things like that. It's been tough to see them kind of go through that. It's the first step, right? It's always for the people. It's the first time admitting it and going in with an open mind, right? And it's interesting to see how people can find themselves through all the people that are around them dealing with the same situation. So I appreciate what you do with the work there, because that touches me in my own personal life.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody has had some sort of dealings with it in one way or the other, family, friends, themselves. It's not something that we should be ashamed of. It's a stigma that has existed for way too long that has sheltered people from actually getting the help that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, we're here. Football is certainly in the air with this matchup, and let me talk about some topics first for our own listeners. We're a Niner station, we're a Rams station, we're a Raider station, so we got a lot of different topics to talk about. Of course, we can talk about the Bulldogs too before we get to the matchup. But I wanted to get why don't we start with the overall thoughts of just the season, right? Because I think there's an interesting situation. There's an interesting tenor going around with the quarterback position. I think Sam Darnold's a real interesting aspect of it. Guys getting these other chances after, maybe it not working out. And I wonder what your perspective is on how quarterbacks are being evaluated in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah, interesting. That's a big topic of conversation. I think what you really can take away from that draft in a couple players, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, who had, rejuvenated careers,
right,
is both those destinations they went to seem to be really problematic, systemic in a way, right? And toxic, where both players were jettisoned, and there's just been no answer for it since. Both ended up in Carolina, ironically enough, but that place was in chaos too. Steve Wilkes was being sent out after being an interim head coach. They got rid of Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it was just nonsense. And then they both kind of felt the safe harbor. Which one was first? Baker to the LA Rams with Liam Cohen, and it was Sam Darnold to San Francisco with Clint Kubiak, right? So that's where those things were learned and figured out, and they stayed with it. They just kept staying with it. And you got to be really proud of them to overcome. It shows how mentally tough they are.
Right.
Because even when you go and win 14 games with the team turns around and says, nope, not good enough.
Yeah, we're not. We're fine. Right?
We're fine.
Yeah.
Not good enough. And so he goes to a place that wanted him, who thinks, plenty good enough. But what I'm so impressed with Sam Darnold is the constant evolution of him when things were going poorly, didn't matter. He went back to the lab with Jordan Palmer, carrying around that anchor of what being a bust in the eyes of other people.
Right.
He still went and did the work, got better, tried to get better every single day. Those were things he couldn't control. The things he could, he worked on, and it's the reason where he's at right now. It's awesome. It's an inspirational story, especially to me. I'm really proud of him.
It's so fascinating the way that there are games like this game right here, the Super Bowl. Sometimes you have a weight of, if they lose, you're going to have a different opinion of them versus, or if they win. I don't feel the weight of a loss hurting any of both of these quarterbacks. It's because of where they were and the expectations of it. I find that fascinating, and whatever legacy means for both of these guys, especially with Darnold, it's interesting to think of the perspective going in.
Look at 2021 season and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
How do you view Joe Burrow after a Super Bowl loss?
Right.
There wasn't no, oh no, he's terrible.
Right.
He's like, they're going to be great. They may never be back.
Yeah.
So Dan Marino, those are instances where I think both of them fully understand though that this may be a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to continue to have exceptional careers, but not everybody can be the Chiefs where you're there every year. This is a real reality that could come into play where you have two new teams every single year in the Super Bowl because the ability to be competitive all throughout the league is there.
Right.
That's how it is, and so you want to take advantage of when you have that opportunity because it only comes once, maybe.
I want to ask you a Rams question because I think the most fascinating story outside of the teams that have made the Super Bowl was what Stafford has done this year. And we as a Fresno station, we followed Devontae Adams' career closely, and his addition to that team, I know it probably unlocked something really great in what that team looked like and what Stafford was able to do. But just thinking the late stage career of what he is and being an MVP candidate when we're borderline thinking, is he going to play anymore after this? How insane is it to think about what he's been able to do as a quarterback?
I think it's been who he's been his entire. It's just been who he's been his entire life. It's just not been something that he was going to be gently go off into the night with no one knowing or caring or things like that. He knows what he wants to accomplish. He works towards it. And I think Sean McVay knew that from the moment they met. And he knew that was the margin that had to be gotten to get over the hump. And so they were really close this year. Another opportunity, I think Sean would probably tell everybody, after taking a look in the mirror, he probably would have done some things differently in that NFC Championship game, and so that's probably why that loss bothers it so much.
He was uncharacteristically bothered in the end of at the post-game press conference.
Yeah, it was a big opportunity for him because I do think whatever NFC team won that game was most likely going to be the Super Bowl favorite and have the best chance to win the Super Bowl. And so good thing for him. It looks like Matthew's going to come back after a great year. And the Super Bowl's in LA next year. And last time that happened, they hoisted the Lombardi. So they got that going for them.
They feel like a favorite anytime they got them out there in terms of that. To the Niners, and the way their season went, of course, the injuries and all of the factors. I don't want to talk about Brock Purdy real quick. I want to ask, what's Mac Jones's future, right? Because I think he made an impact, obviously, with his play. And I'm curious, is he kind of the next Darnold guy that goes somewhere and maybe some team surges with him as he's like another one of those second chance guys that's up and coming?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. I think Malik Willis's name is going to be really hot this offseason. I think he's put the work in. He looked exceptional when he had to be forced in that game against the Bears late in the season. So I think those are two names that you could look at as guys that aren't newbies, but are guys that have a lot of experience that could, be brought into a team that might be on the cusp of getting over the top. So, yeah, I think he did himself a real service this year when Brock was down and the way he played. Not just the way he played, I think the guts in which he played with.
Ram game was incredible. That Thursday night Ram game was incredible.
Yeah, he just battled and battled and battled. And so I love these stories. I don't ever want to see a quarterback fail. I don't need somebody to overshadow my story so I don't have to have the biggest bust type. I want everybody to be successful. And so I love it when I see situations in which he was set up to fail in New England. and to go and have success when you got a chance somewhere else.
I had a great conversation with Rick. Rick knew I was going to come on later, but we recorded with him, and he talked about that boomer bust aspect and how it's so overblown. How it's just like one time and that's it. And I think the evolution of the evaluation of the quarterback is such a fascinating.
It should be
story.
evaluated like coaches.
Yeah,
Like coaches can absolutely bust out, go back and be the best coordinators in the world and get another head coaching job like it's nothing.
right.
You have to understand that sometimes situation plays into that, but it's never really given that amount of time. You don't get that levity or that grace in a lot of those situations, especially for quarterbacks that are drafted so high.
One more question before we let you go. You mentioned Fresno State, and Pac-12 is now coming to fruition. We're here. The future is now with this conference, and I know you've been studying up a little bit on these teams. Fresno State, I think, kind of needed a quarterback situation figured out, and hopefully they have one on a transfer. But what do you think of the way the Dogs can be looking? With Coach Ed's at the helm, second year now.
I think he's got his guys fired up in the right way, in the way that he wants his culture and his identity of his program to be. He wants to be a physical team up front, and he wants to be able to be explosive when they need to. They ran the ball really well against Oregon State in the game I called earlier in the year. I thought EJ Warner did a great job.
Yeah, it was his best performance of the year.
Yeah,
with that comeback.
Yeah. And so I was impressed with the team, and I think this conference allows for. I think it's the best conference outside the Power Four. I think it's going to allow for any of these teams a real opportunity to go to the college football playoff every year.
Yeah, it's that bid process.
Yeah.
Maybe we're back to a Power Five eventually. Who knows? Well, the whole conversation around it's crazy. But Ryan, I know you got plenty of other places to be, so I'm going to let you go.
Thanks, sir.
Quick prediction: you Seahawks or Patriots?
Yeah, I think I like the Seahawks. I just think they're playing better. The one thing that the Patriots got going for them, it's a one-game playoff game. It's not the NBA or Major League Baseball where you play 7 to win 4. Sam Darnold led the league in turnovers this year. That's a reality in the data. He's playing incredibly well right now. He has best game in the NFC Championship game.
It's reminded me of 2012 Flacco a little bit, that kind of run.
Yeah,
it could be.
This team is playing as good as anybody right now, and that for me is problematic. They don't have the wear on the tires as such as the 3 games New England has played have just been a brutal
meat grinder.
Meat grinder, a war of attrition.
Yeah.
And now they get the 2 weeks off. I think it's just gonna be a great football game.
Can't wait. Ryan Leaf here with us. I appreciate you as always, and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thanks, pal.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on 1430 ESPN. Take a quick photo.
You bet.
show. We got plenty more to come. Big thanks to Andrew Zimmern and Kyle Rudolph and Ryan Leaf, all guests in the last 30 or minutes or so. Good insight there. So, who's in the mic in the studio right now? I want to go to you real quick. Is Daniel there? Daniel there? I got to get his thoughts on this Harden trade just real quick. What are we doing here with this Clippers team? Are we? I think it's a good trade, but here we go. You traded Zubac? When did you trade Zubac? Did I missed that, didn't I? Yeah, I'm looking through. Oh, Zubac to Indiana. You sent Zubac and Kobe Brown. And the Clippers get Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson. You get a first-round pick protected through the first 4, or 10 through 30. You get the 29 first-round pick and a second-round pick. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Kawhi and friends. It's so interesting where this team is. Even though didn't they lose last night? That's not great in terms of everything like that. But with other trades in the NBA, I'm trying to think of the Lakers just added Luke Kennard to the team. I'm not saying that's going to change anything, but they traded for him, sent Gabe Vincent to the Hawks and a 2032 second-round pick. So shooting, yay. Is that what I'm thinking for the Lakers? I guess. Is Luke Kennard the answer? I don't know. But it's something. You missed Clipper legend Luke Kennard.
Just came back. Oh yeah, because it's 352.
All right. Well, you might be the only person in human history that said that today. Ever. Exactly. Ever.
Over here on this side. Or you can pull this one.
You're always looking up to Luke Kennard because you're shorter than Luke Kennard. That's what you're always doing. Jorge, what do you make of the Keon Ellis trade to Cleveland? Schroeder, Ellis. The Kings are getting DeAndre Hunter. Dario Saric going to the Bulls. What are the Kings doing here in terms of that?
I do want you to see if you can get on.
We're going to be at the Lee Steinberg event Saturday.
We've been here all week.
Didn't we like Keon Ellis? Yeah. I know this trade happened a week ago, but I don't care. I'm catching up. I've been in football isolation. I think the Cavs are doing some good things here. I don't know. I think I'm getting sucked into it with Harden now. It's oh yeah, we're gonna get Harden and everything's gonna be better. We have and then it's Harden playoff mode. I know it's the easiest take in the world, but we have the data to back it up in terms of how bad he's been in the postseason. And it's interesting. We're gonna see how him and Mitchell are gonna work off each other and what kind of talent that's gonna. Is talent going to win out on that, or are we going to get into a different situation with the Cavs? But I like Keon Ellis as that kind of young, spunky kind of guy that's on that roster. I really enjoy that. Man, the Warriors made a trade that I would have been stoked about maybe 3 years ago. As I told my friends last night, the Warriors got Tingus Pingus last night. Jonathan Kuminga. I finally don't have to think about Jonathan Kuminga as a trade asset anymore because he no longer is a trade asset for the Warriors. He is now somewhere else with the Hawks, and Buddy Hield is going to go there. I'm sad Buddy is breaking up with Jimmy. Man, Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield. Give me that Buddy Cop movie for that year and a half with them being together. Oh my gosh, that was cinema. Come on. Pods. We love pods, though. I like pods. I have to like somebody. I have to like somebody on this roster. I'm telling you right now, I am as depressed Warriors fan as anybody. And what's going on? Do we have any other crazy trades out there? Anything I acknowledge? No Giannis. Giannis staying. Giannis is going to be a Buck. I know everybody's trashing it. Maybe you punt on it, and maybe you can find a way to get a little bit better in the situation later on. I don't know. Maybe things change up with that Bucks team. Maybe there's a couple things that happen on that roster, and you develop, and maybe you get a different kind of. Everyone's like talking about the draft pick thing. It's like, what is it really gonna? I know the odds are what it is, but like, let's be honest. It's been such a crapshoot in how the lottery has happened, how everything has been shifting around. I'm like, everybody's like, well, Giannis is just gonna make that pick even worse, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. The Mavs ended up winning the lottery. They're gonna put the NBA is gonna find some way to move those lottery balls in favor of Milwaukee so they can appease Giannis and get somebody to be playing with him. Come on, that's going to be happening. It really was. It really was. Now that Anthony Davis has moved to Washington, of all teams, Chris Middleton going to